To put it simply, Cool Papa Bell was the best base runner in history. Fans still tell stories about how he beat out a one-hopper to the pitcher or scored from first on a bunt. One first baseman told me about the time he tried to pick Cool Papa off with a throw from the catcher, and as he reached down to slap the bag, he knew there was nobody there. When he looked up, there was Cool Papa, smiling, on third base. Naturally, Cool Papa Bell is in the Hall of Fame, even though his career ended the year before integration. Still, he made his mark on the majors. It was he who taught Los Angeles Dodger Maury Wills the fine points of base stealing, which accounted for a major league record of 104 in 1962. Well, I talked with Cool Papa in St. Louis, where he was working as a City Hall guard. I found he was modest about his accomplishments.
The only thing I see, I stole 175 bases in 1 year. All right, well, we was playing around 180, 90 games a season. All right, but now, by me stealing all of those bases, that didn't make me the best base runner. Now, I broke all the records for his running, second bases. All right. Now, we had some ball players that could steal bases, and it wasn't so fast. It's kind of an art.
Well, you were very fast, weren't you?
Yeah, I was fast.
You also had good reflexes.
Well, that's what you have to have in baseball. You have to watch the moves of a pitcher. Now, if a pitcher got a good move, you can't get a good lead off of this pitcher. A catcher that don't have a strong arm, you don't have to get a big lead. But you always strive to get a big lead on any of them, because you can't beat the ball down there. But you can steal on sometime a shorter lead on some catches you can't others.
From what you saw of the white ball players in the major leagues during this period when you were at your top, if you had been where you should have been in the major leagues, how well would you have done?
We had major league ball players then, but they didn't allow them to play. See, but we didn't get no recognition. Now, they only think we had just a few good ball players. We had a whole lot of good ball players. Just as good or better than the one, black or white, that ever played. But they didn't recognize them at the time. It's like now, suppose the black ball players hadn't been in the major league now. Would they know that Aaron, Mays, Jackie Robinson, the Campanella and them could have played like this? They still thought they were just sandlotters. See, I played against them. And I did the same thing against them when I had a chance to do it. I don't remember.
You could run on them just as well as you ran on
It didn't make any difference. Campanella and all, I run on Campanella, just like I did. Gibson ball traveled fast.
Josh Gibson.
Yeah, but he threw a light ball. Campanella and Perkins threw a heavy ball. It's just with a snap, just like that. And you could almost catch Gibson ball without a glove. But Campanella ball and Perkins ball was hitting your hand. It's like a brick or something. It's just something you can't hardly explain.
Did you have any trouble against Josh Gibson or Roy Campanella?
Yeah, I had trouble with a lot of the stealing. On catches, you never would think.
The story goes that you would just every day go from first to third on a sacrifice bunt. Whenever it's a sacrifice bunt, you run first, you end up on third base. Now, that's got to be more than pure speed. What's the trick to it?
Well, it's not. I didn't do that every day. That I could do it a lot of times. If you bunt that ball to a certain place, you could do it. Sometimes they would bunt it to third base. He said he got to go in and get the ball, and I just keep on the third base.
You were on first base. There was a sacrifice bunt.
Yeah.
The pitcher would pick it up and throw it to third instead of to second.
Well, sometime after I played with teams, they know I would do that. And instead of throwing to first base, they know they would catch me going to third, so he wouldn't throw. He just wait till I would start from second, then he'd just turn and he'd get me in the hot box there. But before those fellas knew I would do that, I could do it on almost any team. If they played back in the regular position, I could hit the ball to the infield and beat out. I could hit the long ball. A lot of people say I couldn't hit the long ball, but I did. But I was trained that way. See, I was a natural right-hand hitter.
Even though you were a left-handed thrower.
Yes, and they taught me, see, I could hit ball from the right side and beat them out. And they said, well, if you turn on the left side, they said they have to play way up on the grass to get you.
Was baseball fun in those days?
It was fun because it's something you like to do. We wasn't getting a whole lot of money out of it. But we had fun with one another. We met, a lot of different ball players people we wouldn't have met by traveling. We enjoyed traveling.
You enjoyed traveling?
Enjoyed traveling from one city to another. It wasn't rough all the time. See, now when I first started playing baseball, they chartered a car on the train. We had our own car. But playing on a train was too slow when we advertised in these little small towns. There wasn't no way for you to get there. And so our team bought buses. Some of them was traveling in cars. This leg out here was a real solid leg from 1920 through 31. And it began to get bad. And we had our own bus that we could travel and stop off in this little town, stop off here. A lot of places little town we couldn't eat. You know how it was. It just was the system of the United States at that time. So
you didn't hold grudges about that?
No, we didn't pay that any attention. Because, see, it wasn't just baseball. Maybe we didn't like it because we stopped here and couldn't eat. I mean, if I stopped here and couldn't sleep or something like that, I can't go in here. But that's the way it was, not only with baseball, it was with anything, jobs and everything. It's not that I was satisfied. I'm not no angry or nothing about playing in the major league if I was getting a job that I was qualified for and couldn't get it.
How did you get the nickname of Cool Papa?
It was from the same manager when I was managing Birmingham at the time. I had pitched against this team over in East St. Louis with another team. They thought I was going to be afraid to pitch up against a big crowd of people. So I went out and I said, no, don't worry, I'm not afraid, because I played on the lots. We had 8,000 and 10,000 people around. Just around like in our park. They wasn't paying to go in or nothing. So I was taking it so easy, and I come in off the bench and said, you taking it cool out there. I said, you really taking it cool. And after that, they began to call me Cool. And the manager said, well, that's not enough of a name. We got to add something else to it. He said, well, I'm going to add Papa to it. And said, we just call him Cool Papa. And so that's why I got my name.
Now, Cool Papa, your career in baseball goes back 50 years. You think about all that playing that you've done, all the games. Is there any one game that just sort of stands out as being the best game you ever played?
They had a boy named Perkins with Birmingham. He had on his dress protector that I shall not steal. And so they said, I know a boy in St. Louis will steal on you. He's, speaking of me. And so I got on base. And when I started running the second base, he just kept drawing back his arm, and I just got to second base. Then I seen him turn the ball loose, and I just kept on the third. And by the time the ball got to second base, he looking for me and looked around, and I was on third. And I just went from first to third on that same, he was throwing at second base.
Same play.
So I never did tell anybody about it, or probably think I was bragging on myself. And there's another play down in Memphis. I was playing center field, and I was third baseman when you throw the ball, unless you're real close enough so you can keep enough speed on the ball, you can throw it all the way there, but you're supposed to bounce the ball. When it hit, if you throw straight over, it'll take off. But this boy usually let the ball go by. And I was in center field, the man on first base, and he was going from first to third. And I threw the ball and just followed it up, thinking this boy was going to miss the ball. And sure enough, he missed the ball. The ball went to the stand. The stand wasn't very far. And he retrieved the ball and looked back. And this man, I was standing on third, and he threw the ball, and I put him out. And
so you outran your own throw.
No, I didn't outrun the throw, but the throw passed him and hit the wall.
Yeah.
And bounced back. By the time I was there. and this man come back to third base, and I put him out. Now, those some of those like things that I don't like to tell myself. It's a few guys living today saw it, and if they can remember this thing, Josh Gibson and I had a play that Josh could just stand without stepping and throw. And we had a play to catch a man off of second base, and I'm playing center field. We get a man on second base, our shortstop would go in, the second baseman would go in to give this guy a great lead so he wouldn't think nobody behind him. And I'd be walking. By the time the pitcher get up, we would time him. And when I started running in, I'd be standing there and put him out.
Did anybody ever time you running around the bases?
Yeah, 12 seconds. I run the base in 12 seconds.
Has anybody ever come close to that? Anybody major leaguer? Pete Reeser had it?
No, I'll tell you who helped that. A fellow by the name of Archer Deacon. He's a St. Louis boy. He run the base in 13-4. Then they had another boy I played with Cincinnati named Swanson. He circled base in 13-3. So that was the record.
How about Jackie Robinson, Maury Wills? What did they do?
Well, they was good base runners. They was faster than the average man, but they wasn't in the category of some of our boys for his running. But for stealing bases, they were smart. They could steal bases.
Now, when you run the bases in 12 seconds, which is unbelievable, yeah. Do you, in addition to speed, you have to be able to turn?
Yeah. That's what gets you. Have to know how to find a turn. They keep from making that great big circle around. I see how the major leaguers now, before they get to first base, they cuts out so they can go. But I never did do that. And I would hit the base with my left foot. And that threw me right back in stride. I wouldn't make that big circle. And the umpires have called me out a lot of times and say I didn't touch base because they were looking for me to hit the base with my right foot. He said, I see you step over the base, but they're looking at this right foot. I said, you don't look at it. I said, look at the base and see where my foot hit the base. And then they began to look at the base. He said, well, most runners touch the base with the right foot. I said, it's not that. You just watch the base.
You can push off if you touch it.
Push off. And you got to know where to hit that base. If you hit on either end, the base turn up. You got to know. It's best to hit it on the inside, and it can even push you off. If you hit it sometime that in the middle, that it'll pull you back. You got to know how to hit it to push you off. That's the only thing.
Are you angry at America for treating you the way it did?
No, I'm not angry at America because this is the only country that I lived in. Suppose I was born in another country, and I could have been treated the same way. I have to live under the condition, under the system of the country that I was born in.
Cool Papa Bell was a fast man on the bases, but slow to take offense. at the unfair system that prevented him from gaining fame and fortune. Still, baseball has put him in the Hall of Fame at Cooperstown, along with the people he should have been playing with. Another Hall of Famer is Judy Johnson, one of the smartest players ever, a third baseman with a rifle arm, a line drive hitter who averaged around 300 for his career. He's also the man who brought Josh Gibson into the Negro Leagues. From 1920 to 1937, Judy Johnson sparkled on black diamonds.
I've played a lot of all-star games, and they were very interesting. And one particular series we played with Dizzy Dean was 16 games into Ohio and Pennsylvania, and we won 9 and they won 7.
Were they trying?
They always try. They don't like the Negro to beat them doing anything. If you're digging a cesspool, he don't want you to do that. He don't want you beat him doing that. But they were all gentlemen as far as I know. They all act very nice. Most all. I'll say most all. Because some people, regardless of what they are, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder about something. You know that.
Now, the crowds that watched these confrontations between white and black, were they themselves mostly white crowds or black crowds?
Well, they were mixed. They were mixed.
You say integrated?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how heavy was the rooting? How partisan were the crowds?
Well, of course, the Negro was going to vote for the Negro and root for him, and also the white would root for the white. Between the two races, it never got to the point where they would want to fight, because we would only have a losing cause. You couldn't win down there. So they would holler over to you, "Oh, get that so-and-so," and they would usually have Negro umpiring. And now this here was in Monroe, in the places where we would play Negroes. Now, we played once in Alexander, Louisiana. After leaving Monroe, Alexander, I think, is 75 miles from New Orleans. And Alexander, they had a regular holiday. We were playing there 2 days. And they had a band would get on a truck and they would go all around. And the first day, why, it was a holiday in this town. The stores closed up for 2 hours while the game was going on. And this team, well, the team we had, that was when the first year we got Josh Gibson. And we would practice, and we'd always put a show on, you know?
Clowning,
yeah, fun, yeah. And, well, the white people down there liked that because they called Negroes monkeys anyhow with their tails cut off. We would do all this, the balls. We'd pass the ball so fast you can hardly keep up with it. And they liked that. But the thing got me, in the grandstand, they had cover over the white side, and the Negro side didn't have anything to keep the sun off of them at all, but they paid the same price. So those are the things you run into, and we did then in the South. Of course, they're integrated now, and thank the Lord they're doing better down there. Now, we'd go spring training. We went to New Orleans, and we'd train there. We'd go to Hot Springs first and train 10 days and take the bath. We'd go to New Orleans for a Sunday game after leaving Hot Springs, and we'd play a doubleheader there in that Sunday. And then we'd work our way all the way back up north. But we had some awful times in a lot of those places. Jackson, Mississippi, we went there. When we would go there to play, we'd always try to get in at night and get out at night, because the white people were just that cruel down there. They would call you names and harass you and anything that, well, you know, the northern niggers and anything they could think that would aggravate you or make you angry. In one place, we'd always gas up before we left Jackson to go through Mississippi without buying gas in the bus. And we stopped at one gas station there, and it was late. It was around 1 o'clock, and the guy he didn't sell us any gas. He wouldn't let us use the toilet or nothing like that.
What did you do?
Just had to move on. We ran slow till we ran into another place, and the guy let us have some gas. We were playing down to South Philadelphia one night, twilight game, and some places in Philadelphia was just as bad as in the South, because we played there one night, and the score was tied. In the 8th inning, we got the run, the go-ahead run, and when they came in, they had a man on second with 2 out, and the line drivers hit the right field. The right fielder made a diving catch. The umpire called him out, and the fans stormed on the field and ran him over the back fence.
The umpire's chased.
Yeah, the umpire was chased off the field. They ran him off. We had to go over the back fence of the ballpark. And at that time, players would jump on you. If you had the ball, you could never let him see the ball. If you were going to tag a man coming to a base, you would hold your glove and the ball back here to keep from him jumping on you. I've got scars on my knees where Willie Wells jumped on me and cut my knee wide open, trying to kick the ball out of my hand. That was Negro baseball. And when I first broke in with baseball, the older Negro players, they used to carry a file to sharpen their spikes so they could cut you. And we had to have shin guards made to wear on underneath our baseball socks to keep from being cut. That's the way they played to win, you know. They went to the ballpark to win. But you're not allowed to jump on players, man. They kick the ball out of your hand in a minute. If you let them see it, like when they go there and drag in the glove right back, but the glove and all would be out in center field. They'd kick it right out of your hand. But, of course, I guess as most of the players say, we love the game and we love to play, and the money wasn't too much, but we was better than working in a mill or something. And then we got to go around, and I liked that, the traveling. But one day we played.
Excuse me. You say that it hurt you physically, but how? Where?
Yeah, well, your legs. Your legs. In a bus, you can't stretch out like you can on a bed or anything. Your ankles would swell. But when we get out on the ballpark, you forget that because the bell rang for the game and we would play.
What kind of places would you stay in on the road?
Well, the accommodations weren't the best in a lot of places. A lot of places we stayed by, the accommodation was really, you felt like sitting up in a chair. Why? It was so bad. Well,
bugs?
Yeah, some places were bugs, and then the beds weren't, the springs were bad, and you were on top of your partner half the time in the bed. We used to travel. When I was managing Homestead Grays, we had 2 cars. We had 2 Buicks. We rode 9 men in a car. That's the way we traveled, 9 men in a car. And we had a box on the back of the car. It held the truck, the baseballs, and the uniforms. And on the side, we had little racks. You didn't have them when you were, little racks on the side of the car. And we would put our clothes, the dress clothes in that. If you got to the hotel first, you didn't stop to register. Up the steps and look in the room. This room was all right. We didn't like that. You'd go look in another room. And the room you thought was good, you'd throw your bag or whatever, some of your equipment, hat or anything on. Now, that was your room. That's where we used to get. And sometime you'd get a crumb, too. It was tough. But it was fun, you know. We were going racing to get to Shreveport one day, and both cars turned over at the same. Why, I guess we weren't 10 miles apart. They used to have road scrapers there that would dirt road. In Louisiana, land's low. They would dig a ditch and pull the road up on the highway, the dirt up there, to make the highway higher than the level. And there was a ditch on each side of the road, and this road scraper would go down and to level the dirt off, you know. Well, that left a little knoll in the middle of the road. If he was going down, he'd go about 10 miles, he'd turn around and come back and push it over. So we were crammed in this car, and the other car was ahead of us, and with so much dust we couldn't see where we were going. And the driver hit one of these and snatched the wheel out of his hand, and here we go. On 2 wheels this side, 2 wheels that side, and he was trying to break it, and finally we just flopped over. Well, no one was hurt. So we turned the thing up, only bent the running guard on the side of the car. We jumped on it and straightened it out, and then we proceeded on. And about 20 minutes later, we looked down the road, the sun was going down, and the roads are straight there. You drive maybe 20 miles, and then you go across a railroad track or something, then you go again. And we looked down the road, and one of the fellows said, "That had an accident, just like," and it was our car. The car went over 3 times. It never stopped running. When we caught up there, the motor was still running upside down. And one of the boys went in there and turned the ignition off. No one got hurt. The driver got a piece of wood lodged in his head. He didn't get it out until we got to Canton, Ohio, that spring. But no one was injured bad enough to stop him from playing. But that's the kind of traveling we did. We played in Chicago one Sunday. We played a doubleheader. We had our bags. That was when I was with the Crawfords. We had our bags all packed. We put them on the bus. When we left the hotel, we put our dress things on the bus. And after the game, we had dinner, jumped right in the bus, and rode from Chicago to Philadelphia without stopping other than to get sandwiches or something, soft drinks or something. And we got in there Tuesday around 11 o'clock, and we played a doubleheader that afternoon. One time, we was up in the coal region playing, I think it was Mackinac City. And the sheriff I was playing with the Hilldale Club. The sheriff was the umpire. And he was a home umpire. The balls would be over your head. If you had 2 strikes, you were out. He was just that way. So we had a big catcher called Sandtop. He was a wonderful catcher. And at that time, we called him the Black Babe Ruth. That was just before Josh. That was before Josh's time. And he kept calling the balls bad, so the Sandtop went out to the pitcher and said, "Throw a high one, I'll let it go by," and hit him. So he did. He threw a high one, and Sandtop caught it, and the ball went right by and hit him right here.
Adam's apple.
Oh, boy, that guy, he couldn't breathe. He was choking and everything, and that broke the ball game up. And we had to get in our car with baseball clothes on and a dress clothes in her hand, and we got in the 2 cars we had up there, and they chased us for about 5 or 6 miles down the road. And that's the only time I was really frightened that time, because up there's no Negroes lived up in the coal regions at that time, up in the hard coal regions. There was no Negroes up there at all. And we were just a freak. When we played in one town, we went there for dinner. We ate lunch before going to the ballpark. And kids were around the front of the hotel just as though it was a circus or something. And if you'd walk up to some of those white kids, they would run away from you. They had never seen a Negro before.
How did Josh Gibson get his start in organized Negro baseball?
We were playing this Kansas City team in Pittsburgh. I think we had 36,000 out that night in Fobbs Field. And my catcher, a boy named Buck Ewing, he was a good catcher, lived in Poughkeepsie, New York. And the pitcher was Joe Williams, Smokey Joe Williams, and he could throw a ball. I don't think Satchel could throw any harder than this man. But the only signal we had, I said, we'll use a glove signal. If you put your hand, hold the glove down flat, that's for curve. If you hold it straight up, that's a fastball. Well, they got crossed up, and Buck Ewing, the catcher, went to catch the ball, and it must have been a breaking ball because it went between these 2 fingers and split it right open. Well, I didn't have my other catcher was named Vic Harris. He was a catcher and a bus driver and everything else. But he wouldn't catch. Now, we couldn't turn away and give all that money back. So Josh was playing around Pittsburgh on a playground team. He was a big robot kid anyhow. And I went and asked Josh, would he catch? Yes, sir, he said, I'll catch. So we had to hold the game about a half hour because he was hitting balls all in the creeks and the rivers and every place he played. So we knew that he was strong, but he was a young kid. So we had to hold the game up until he went and changed clothes with our catcher. And I've never seen a man get hit in the chest on the shin guards as much as he did that night. He got hit, I guess, 50 times. But he hung in there. He stayed right in there. And right from that day, we took him right from then. He had it. He was strong as a bull. And he hit a ball with so much ease. Josh never would. He'd just get right in there. And with the ease, he hit a ball in Warren, Ohio. He hit a ball so far that they called a game, and the mayor went out there and got a tape and tried to get how far he hit it. And he hit the only ball I ever really read of being hit in the Yankee Stadium. He hit it over that corner and where the bullpen is, clean over that roof, all the way out of the park.
That's right. He's the only man, including Babe Ruth, ever to hit a fair ball out of Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. That's the only one I ever read of. And we were playing with the Nat Strong frozen balls. That's what we used to call them. Nat Strong, he controlled all the independent baseball in and around New York. And you had to buy his balls if you played in New York, and you had to pay him so much percentage to play. He was booking agent, you know. And they say he used to take balls and put them in the ice box if we were playing against one of his clubs, and freeze them, and they would be dead. You hit them, they go plunk, and you couldn't hit the ball hard. But that was a tale he used to tell on.
How good a catcher, I mean as a receiver, did he become?
Well, he became a good receiver. He wasn't a Campanella in receiving. Campanella is about as good as you could find, I think. But hitting was no question about his hitting. And he could run fast as anybody, and he had the good arm, and he was just a great ball player. But Josh, you overlooked he was funny, and he never got angry about anything. He's always clowning or something. You had to love him. You had to love him if you ever met him. He was just that type of a guy.
How did you get the nickname Judy?
Well, when I left Wilmington here, they used to call me Judas Johnson. My name was William Julius. I never liked the name Julius. It sounded more like a woman's name to me. But when I went to Philadelphia to play with a little semi-pro club there, and they had a fellow playing first base called Judy Gans, and they said he was an old-timer, and they said I looked like his son, so from Judas they called me Judy. And now if somebody called me William, I wouldn't look around. I get Judy every place I go now.
And that doesn't sound like a woman's name, do you?
No, it don't sound like a woman's name. But a lot of times I get a call and the operator say, "Is Miss Judy Johnson in?" I say, "Speaking." "Are you?" Yeah. But they were my happy days. I enjoyed every minute of it, and if I had to live over again, I would go over it again because I think it was worth living. It taught you to be a man and a gentleman, because a lot of things are said and called to you. If you just overlook, why, you feel better when you get away from it. But if you resent it, then it could cause trouble on both sides. And that's the way I try to live.